Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, bringing you the round of 16 match between Zero and Hero in the ABC Mart MSL. So, this is one of those games where in game 1 I did a terrible job of trying to keep them straight. It was awful because they both end in Ero, and it just wasn't working well. So I'll try and do a better job of keeping them straight and enunciate the Z and the H a little bit more definitively. And Zero did win that first game against Hero. Zero and Hero. He did win that first game. And we are going to take the second game onto Monte Cristo. So if Zero's able to win this, he will advance into the round of 8, which I think is definitely where he belongs. Whether or not he can get to the semifinals would require, a good matchup and probably as a Terran player that's not Flash. If Zero can get a Terran player in the round of 8 that's not named Flash, I think that we would see him into the round of 4. But we'll have to see what that matchup is, provided he can get past Hero here in 2 games. And that is a picture of the Queen of Blades Zero himself, and some talk of loving him. I miss his purple glasses. He needs to change back to those big, gargantuan purple glasses that look like they were from the 80s, and yeah, they were awesome. I love those purple glasses. They were so distinctive. I like it when pro gamers do something distinctive, even when they're ridiculous, even when they're like, even if they look bad overall, when they're distinctive, I just think it looks cool when they try and get their own style going. But he did at least keep some pretty big glasses. They are still pretty prominent on his face. He's not like Stork. He didn't try and ditch his glasses and go to contacts or anything. Maybe that's it for Stork. It's the contact switch. He went from glasses into contacts. Maybe that's screwing us up. So who knows? So it looks like this is Monte Cristo, by the way, which is a pretty long, it's a 2-player map, but it does have some pretty long rush distances because of the temples in the middle that take out the direct route. And so 12 hatch is actually very common on this map, but it looks like both players are going for 12 pool instead, which is kind of surprising to me. I would have thought this is a map where you would really expect one, if not even both players to go for a 12 hatch build. And if either of them had done a 12 hatch against their opponent's 12 pool, they would be in a pretty dominating position. 12 hatch beats 12 pool economically hard, and production wise very, very hard, and it's a pretty good spot. It looks like both players should have the same timings for everything. They are taking their natural expansion at the same time. It looks like Heroes was 3 seconds earlier. Not a huge deal at all. So this is all going to come down to when you have the mirror builds. It's all going to come down to choices, as in how many drones do you sneak in, how many Zerglings do you actually produce, are you forced to produce a sunken colony, should you try and skimp on Zerglings, those kinds of things. The small battles, all the little things come into play, and it really ends up being a very strategic match. And it's one of those things that's very, very fun to watch if you know what to look for, and if you can actually see it, which can be sometimes difficult when you're not controlling the camera. It can be hard to keep track of whether or not how many Zerglings each player has, how many drones they've tried to sneak in, those kinds of things. Because those are really the things that end up winning you a game in a ZVZ. Is can you sneak in a couple extra drones when your opponent isn't paying attention? Even with that Overlord there, they can't watch both hatcheries, right? So you can still try and sneak them in. Looks like Zergling's moving across the map for both players, about to run into each other, and Hero is going to pull back here, but because he has a couple more coming into play, and Zero going to dance around and is going to end up falling back here. And Hero being a little bit careful here. I think he's trying to not engage because he only sees 2 Zerglings, so he's worried that there's Zerglings coming across the top set of above the temples to go into his natural expansion. It looks like Hero's plus speed ended or finished a half second before Zero, so he's actually able to get a couple bops in on that Zergling. And Zero was going for that little runaround with his Zerglings to try and get a couple Zerglings snuck in, but Hero was having none of it. So some good game sense there, very, very, very good game sense by Hero there, recognizing what was going on there, not just being, oh well, 2 Zerglings, maybe he's sneaking drones. He recognized that it was going to be Zerglings trying to round about, and was able to deal with it pretty effectively. Both players getting their spires up virtually identical, slightly earlier for Hero. Nothing significant, certainly not enough to get Scourge out ahead of Zero or anything to get to his base to try and pop Mutalisk. Nothing like that is going to happen in this game. That has happened in previous games if you watched a lot of ZVZ. Some more bops going on here by Hero's purple Zerglings, taking a couple extra hits on Zero's once again. And it does look like Zero has 4 drones in his natural expansion as opposed to 3 for Hero, so he does look like he's up a drone right now, unless one of those was transferred from the main or something like that. It is hard to tell, honestly. It is hard to tell, but that does look like Zero is up a drone. And Zero coming in here for a little bit of attack, keeping Hero's Zerglings back. And here we're playing very, very cautiously in this game. Very, very. He's had Zergling advantage in a couple situations, but always aware of the threat of of Zerglings coming around from the other side, and has been able to, and has been really defending his choke area as much as he can and not pushing out too far. And Zero looks like he's actually produced a lot of Zerglings now, and Hero has as well, actually, both players have, and he's sending his Zerglings around on the bottom as well, so he's going to have pressure coming in from the top and the bottom. Should Hero push out with his Zerglings, he's got to be careful of a natural pincer occurring, as well as possibly Zerglings coming around into his natural expansion. It looks like Zero is actually going to go for an attack. You're going to try and break the line of Hero, and who's going to come out ahead here is going to be very, very close. Neither player able to get a dominant concave on the other one, and it looks like Zero's able to sneak in with 3 Zerglings, but Hero did actually come away with more Zerglings overall, but Zero able to come in with a couple Zerglings in reinforcement. They are actually able to pick off a drone there, so they do get 1 drone, and so that is a nice attack there. Hero actually killed more Zerglings and had more Zerglings at the end there, but his wall was broken, and Zero was able to take advantage of that crack in the armor and able to sneak in there, pick off a drone, and to gain a little advantage that way. And Zero hits his Mutalisk out as well. Both players with their Mutalisk going to build up here for a little bit before they push out. You'll usually see Scourge produced right before Mutalisk decide to go on the offensive. Mutalisk doing, or Scourge doing their great job of keeping your opponent's Mutalisk away and possibly doing some bonus damage, but really their number 1 goal is to make sure that, well, I shouldn't say number 1 goal, really their number 1 goal is to get a hit and try and kill a Mutalisk, but against good micro, usually what happens, their goal is basically to keep the Mutalisk running around and not dealing damage while your own Mutalisk are hitting drones or hitting the Mutalisks, and hopefully you can deal with your opponent's Scourge quicker and get your army back into the damage dealing fray a little bit more effectively. Both players are just macroing up here right now, and Zero sending out a couple Zerglings once again, going to run into one of Hero's, and actually Hero finally able to respond, was able to notice that his Zergling was about to die and actually pulling him back, so that's good for him, able to keep that half psi of Zergling alive. And Zero looks like he's looking to get a little bit aggressive here, heading towards the natural expansion of Hero, and we could have an engagement here if Zero's willing to commit, and he actually picks off a Zergling and then backs off, it looks like. Yeah, both players picking off one of the Zerglings of their opponents, and then that's it. So it looks like Zero backing off once again. Perhaps did he go for an upgrade very, very quickly, or it could be as simple as he knows that Hero scouted out his Mutalisk location, and he just wanted to be careful that it didn't he wasn't walking into a trap or anything like that. Zero actually able to pick off an Overlord of Hero, so that is a little bit of an advantage for him. And Zero sending in a Zergling going into the natural expansion and right into the main of Hero. And Zero actually on the retreat right now with his Mutalisk, and interestingly enough, that Zergling for Zero able to get a kill as well, and it looked like Hero was able to pick off an Overlord, so he's evening up that Overlord count. But Zero with 2 drone kills this game, and I believe he snuck in 1 or 2 extra drones over Hero as well, so Zero is still in an advantage overall in that harassment, and Scourge bopping each other and killing each other, which is always fun. And here comes a fight here. Now we could get a big engagement. Scourge dealing with each other, and it looks like the Zero actually keeping his Scourge back as much as possible. Looks like look at that. He's keeping his Scourge back, has not engaged his Scourge at all. And Hero not able to take advantage of that, not able to dart in there and take out any drones. It looks like he might have taken out 1. I thought I saw some blood there, but I don't think he was really able to do too much damage. And Zero doing a great job here of picking off Scourge of Hero while not engaging with his own Scourge. So he's able to save all of that gas, which means when he's either building more Mutalisk, and he should end up with a Mutalisk advantage, or if he's building a lot more Scourge, when he does finally decide to engage with the Scourge, he's going to have a lot. He will have a lot of Scourge, one way or the other. Those engagements, that engagement was actually an advantage for Zero. It looked like a draw, but really it comes out advantage on Zero because he did not engage all of his Scourge quite yet, so he's able to save all of that gas. He doesn't have to rebuild his Scourge count in case he can just continue to build Mutalisk and start he should be at the point where he can start getting a second control group of Mutalisk. Scourge coming in for Zero for a scout, and Scourge coming in as well for Hero as he tries to get aggressive again. And now he does engage some of his Scourge right here. It looks like some landing for both players, and now it looks like we are going to have a fight, and a bunch of Scourge actually for Hero landing on Zero's Mutalisk. And who's actually in the advantage? It looks like Zero maybe is in the advantage. Yes, he is. Well, actually, it looks like they're both just going to engage here for a little bit and bop each other until they figure out who's actually in the lead. It looks like Zero's in the lead because Hero is in full retreat right now. Hero is in big time retreat, and it does look like all the Mutalisks go down and my video is frozen, which is not cool at all. I got no video right now, it's just frozen in the screen, but it does look like Zero is in a huge advantage and should come away with a victory. I'm going to jump ahead in the video just to make sure. And yeah, okay. So you're not gonna see that. Well, you will see this well, but I'll let the video run. But basically, the game is over. Zero did win that Mules engagement, and as you would expect, there was no coming back for here. That game was over. Zero just walking right into the natural expansion, finishing off the Mules and picking at drones, and Hero forced to GG. And there it is. Well, on my screen, but I'm not even gonna bother trying to edit out the. Yeah, not even gonna bother, not even worth it. The game was over. You basically saw the ending to the game once Hero lost those Needles. It was over. So Zero going to advance into the round of 8, and one of my favorite players is Zero. And if I have it my way, he will find a Terran player, and he will try and defeat that Terran player and advance into the semifinals in the round of 8. But we'll see if he's able to. We'll see who he gets matched up against. That's going to be it for this series. This round of 16 is over. The next round, I guess we'll go on to... I'm going to say Flash for the end, so we're going to go on to Mind versus Light set 2 next. And so I'm going to finish up the Mind versus Light series, and that will be next, coming at you.